I took in my first trip to the Hamptons where I led a session about sports investment. What a sight. And then I worked on Friday from New Canaan, Connecticut. Yes, where you will see a number of sports business leaders just walking through the town, especially on downtown's Elm Street. And it is a beautiful New England town. Great to be with so many sports business leaders in New Canaan. And this is your morning Buzzcast for Monday, August 11th. I'm Abe Madkour. The Chicago Bears, well, they met the media on Friday, and there were some noteworthy news items coming out of their remarks, most notably about the team being so singularly focused on building a new stadium at Arlington Heights. That's in the suburbs of Chicago. There is no more mention of a downtown lakefront Chicago stadium. Remember, the Bears did not get any momentum for that downtown stadium plan, and now they have shifted back to focusing exclusively to Arlington Heights. But they still need help from the State House, and there is little indication that state tax help is coming. The Bears said they will push hard for passage of a mega projects bill this fall that would help their tax situation for the 326-acre property in Arlington Heights. They were hoping, of course, to get help in the spring legislative term, but they did not get any. There's been very little indication from the state officials that they are willing to publicly assist a new stadium. And there are no promises the bill will generate any momentum during the fall session. So this is a big story because Bears CEO Kevin Warren acknowledged that without some legislation from the State House this fall, this project will not be able to proceed forward. So that leaves the Bears in a bit of a quandary. They are focused hard on the fall legislative session. They need state help, but right now, that help doesn't seem to be coming. This is a story everybody is keeping an eye on. NFL action, it happened over the weekend in terms of the preseason. We will get a constant drumbeat of NFL news, especially around the networks. CBS has its NFL Media Day this week in New York. Meanwhile, Fox Sports announced that Rob Gronkowski will become a full-time member of the Fox NFL Sunday crew. He will replace Jimmy Johnson, who of course retired in March. Gronkowski made plenty of guest appearances on the show, so he's not a stranger to the show. And of course, he'll join Kurt Menefee, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, Michael Strahan, as well as Jay Glazer on that Fox NFL Sunday show. So some changes there. We could see some other changes as the networks announce their plans. Let's shift to baseball. We talk about Netflix and we talk about their strategy around sports. Largely, it's been around big events that really are amplified. And so I'm not sure if the latest reports about Netflix being interested in MLB's Home Run Derby is big enough for Netflix. But sources did report that Netflix has explored a deal for the Home Run Derby, and sources say Netflix may be interested in additional baseball programming as well. Remember, ESPN opted out of its MLB deal. That included Sunday Night Baseball, some regular season games, the Home Run Derby, a wild card playoff round. And so that package is still in the marketplace. Apple apparently has kicked the tires, and Fox and NBC have been rumored to be interested. Sources say that ESPN is still talking to MLB and could retain a smaller portion of its original deal. Remember, baseball is looking for a 3-year bridge deal. They want all of their league's media deals, both local and national, to come up at the same time at the end of the 2028 season, and then go to the marketplace with a very robust package of rights. But right now, they're still negotiating with a number of bidders for this limited or smaller MLB package. Staying with baseball, there's been so much talk in the New York market and among Yankee fans about Old Timers Day. This is a game that generally happened over the summer, and the team brought Old Timers Day game back for the first time since 2019 on Saturday. No, the game did not feature Derek Jeter, who appeared only via a video message on the Jumbotron. It was previously reported that Jeter had already made plans to attend his daughter's birthday party, but he's made it very clear over the years that he is not interested in playing in any Old Timers Day game. But the Yankees, they did get a lot of star power out on the field. They had Roger Clemens and so many others, but the game and its future will likely come under more scrutiny as Mariano Rivera unfortunately tore his Achilles tendon playing in the game on Saturday, and he'll undergo surgery this week in New York. So that was unfortunate, terrible news for Rivera. And of course, that dominated a lot of the headlines around the game. So if you don't do an old timers game, what could you do? Well, the Brewers may have an example because the Brewers said almost a half dozen teams have reached out to them after they hosted an alumni home run derby. Other teams want to see how that worked. The home run derby was part of a 25th anniversary celebration of American Family Field, and they had Prince Fielder and Ryan Braun and several others compete. It was after a Brewers game last month. The promotion drew a sellout of 42,000 fans. Most of them stayed around to watch the post-game event. So other baseball clubs notice this, and of course, we all talk about sports being a copycat business. They want to see how this worked and could they implement that in their local market. Now, the Brewers aren't the first team to do this. The Astros had an alumni home run derby event. The Braves had an alumni softball home run derby event last year. So there are a lot of different ways to bring alumni back and to welcome back former players outside of a traditional game where some players understandably are concerned about getting hurt while playing. Earlier this year, I was speaking with a top ticketing executive, and they expressed some concern in ticket sales. They said they were seeing softness, especially around their music schedule, and they were concerned about any consumer pullback on spending. So that's why the latest numbers from Ticketmaster are worth digging into. Here's what I took away. Yes, Ticketmaster's revenue grew 2%, and the number of tickets sold was up 4%. But, sports ticket sales are below 2024 levels. Concert ticket volume increased in the high single digits. So the bottom line, Live Nation Ticketmaster's business was driven by gains in its concert business, and in that concert business, more than 130 million tickets for concerts were sold this year. That was up 6% from the same period last year. So concerts definitely driving ticket revenue. People are still attending live events. I'm keeping my eye on the NFL and college football season ticket sale marketplace. That will be a key indicator of consumer sentiment, consumer confidence, and the consumer's willingness to continue spending. You know, while I was on the road a little bit last week, so much of the talk was around the WNBA. First, it was about their collective bargaining negotiations, and if the rhetoric will cool down when it comes to the negotiations. Second, it was about the future of the Connecticut Sun, and many are intrigued to see where the league comes out with the future of that team. Some wonder if the WNBA will continue to favor markets that applied for expansion franchises. Remember, Boston didn't apply for an expansion team, and so some feel the W is poking Boston for not applying for an expansion team. Many believe that Boston would be a great WNBA market, and it's also uncertain if the WNBA would allow the Sun to move to Hartford and play in Hartford's People's Bank Arena. So to me, it's about the revenue. If the league office can get a market to pay, say, $300 million for the Sun and a $100 million relocation fee that goes to the league, and then the league office can keep Boston as an open market for eventual expansion, they will take that, and they will see that as a win. And we know that the WNBA would love a team in Houston and other cities. And so everybody's kind of keeping an eye on the Connecticut Sun and the next steps there. And finally, a hat tip history this weekend. Jen Powell broke the gender barrier. She became the first female umpire. She worked behind the plate on Sunday. She worked the bases on Saturday during a doubleheader. This was for the Marlins Braves series. What a memorable weekend for Powell, who was very well received by players and fans. Fans had signs. Fans cheered her when she appeared on the big screen. This was a result of a lot of hard work. She started in the minor leagues in 2016. She worked AAA in 23, spring training in 24 and 25, and this year made it to the big leagues, made her debut over the weekend. Congratulations to Jen Powell for breaking the gender barrier when it comes to umpires in baseball. And finally, I will be in Milwaukee taking part in their Business of Sports event on Thursday. I hope to see a few Buzzcast listeners there. If you're there, please say hello. And that is your morning Buzzcast for Monday, August 11th. I'm Abe Madkour. Thanks for listening. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. I'll speak to you on Tuesday.